Universe. How should we interpret this word? With mathematics, physics, faith, imagination? We exhausted our minds attempting to define this still unfamiliar world in a variety of languages and arrogantly to have claimed true knowledge. So, why are most of us silent when destruction is so near? The sound of gunfire and cries can still be heard near the Weshalek Palace, where Teresis sit. Amiya and the gang readies themselves to confront Teresis. Inside the spacious throne room, where Teresis is supposed to be, have nothing more than dust. Ascalon, who went first, and Manfred. He stands alone in front of the throne room. After a bit of interrogation, even Manfred seems to not know where Teresis went. It seems Teresis went to the assimilated universe. Doctor, we must return to Rhodes Island landship as quickly as possible. We might still have one last chance to buy Terra a brief moment of respite. Kalchit suggests to go back to the Langin as soon as possible, but before that, they should neutralize some of the variables that are still here. As Sascalan played and the Demon King Arch descend upon Manfred, a red flash counterattacked them. Taras is standing before the throne, in his hand a gleaming crystal. Hold tightly, Amnanam. Taras begins to call on the power of Amnanam. The throne room began to shift. The entrance in which they came from is now gone, and mist covering the room. Amiya tried to attack him, but the surging Originium assimilates Amiya's arts. The doctor asks for Amiya and Kalchi to stall Teresis' attack as they try to stop Teresis. Originium creeps up on Manfred and Ascalon. Before long, Manfred vanishes put in a safer place. You don't get to make decisions for me anymore. Ascalon uses her arts to dissolve herself in purple mist, rippling to the Originium and staying in the room. Amnanam starts to overpower Teresis, and he struggles to even lift up his sword. He was driven to bury everything here, eventually slashing towards Amiya and the gang, breaking their barrier bit by bit. But the doctor, just in time, finally succeeded in stopping the power of Amnanam. As the mist starts to disperse, you told us that we would only have one chance to strike. You really have slowed down a lot. A blade had struck Teresis in the heart, pushed by Ascalon to the throne. He let go of his blade and Amnanam, removing the blade that had struck him. He didn't bleed, only shattered glister war. They used the power of Amnanam to open back the entrance. Amiya and Kalchit went back first, as the doctor insists on staying in the room for a bit. 3 years after the Londinium incident, summer of 1101. Recently, BRTS have been acting weird lately, though it says in the log that the last few operations error was caused by humans. Amiya, Crosser, and the Doctor tries to make a new terminal command system, but BRTS' role is too huge to change all of it in Rhodes Island. And that should the new terminal system also have made a lot of errors. BRTS irregularities have made them quite worried, but Kalsit have a plan. She puts down a blueprint. It was Rhodes Island landship. In the heart of the blueprint was a black cube, the core of Rhodes Island. Abyss, Kalsit called it, a place sealed for a long time. Even Kalsit didn't have the authorization to go deep in. He decided to go in, split into two teams, where the Doctor and Kalsit gonna go in to the Abyss, while Amiya and Closer makes an isolation zone around the Abyss and 1 kilometer around the ship. A few days after the planning, Rhodes Island was attacked by robots, but quickly suppressed by the elite operators and the Doctor's command. After a long deliberate discussion, they decided to search for records in Civila Eterna, and also look for potential help, but Kalsit didn't want them to do it, so as to not make the same mistake that happened in Babel. Kalsit leaves the office, giving the final decision to Amiya. Amiya tries to link with the Doctor's mind, and she was going through the Doctor's blurred and hazy memories. Amiya saw a glimpse of the Doctor talking to a woman in white outfits and in the sarcophagus before being brought back to reality. After successfully linking to each other, they prepare to go to the boundary of Civila Eterna. Inside Civila Eterna, they were greeted by Teresa, hologram, where Amiya asks her to look at all of Calcit's record while they go deeper. But Civilite Eterna warns Amiya. You have to win to Civilite Eterna before Amiya. But this time, what you seek lies far beyond your limits. It is a place where life on Terra cannot threat for the time being. But perhaps you will find a chance to touch upon this knowledge that is not yours, because you have someone who works alongside you. A great hallway of pure white circles around a central point that defies comprehension, the singularity. To traverse through the singularity, Amiya builds a bridge between records of Dr. Calcit, Civilite Eterna as an anchor to go back, and the singularity to push forward. Amiya went first, where she is attacked by waves of information. Scenes of civilization in Terra flash before her eyes, then the scene of the destruction of a planet and a ship overseeing said planet. Amiya starts to get dizzy. Her eyes slowly see nothing but darkness, and her body starts to fall. A hand was on her back. It was the doctor supporting Amiya, who was about to be overloaded by information. After a small talk, they continue onwards, eventually seeing a scene of British and the Oracle, speaking to each other in an unknown language. Prestige traces a rhombus in the air, a symbol of Originium. They continued onwards as that scene doesn't contain the information they needed. As they get closer, the blitz has become unstable. The pressure makes it feel like walking in water. Eventually, the doctor found a promising information. They saw a scene, a room filled with machinery that they don't understand, and yet a strange familiar feeling filled the doctor. Before long, Oracle entered the room, talking to a construct. The construct bursts when it saw Oracle. The scene starts to fade as Civilite Eterna tries to eliminate loopholes, but they immediately saw a formula near the Oracle, as it was the information they were searching for. But they each only had time to memorize part of it before the bridge collapses. Even when running back, they were still being assaulted by a barrage of information, leaving both of them blacked out and exhausted when they came out of Civilite Eterna. Head pounding, they finally woke up from the deep dive. A tired voice came from outside the door. Calcit did an immediate cognitive test on both of them when they woke up, but further investigation was needed, as it isn't simple diagnosing the mind. After the both of them did cognitive tests, and no major issues was found, they tried to put the formula back together like a jigsaw puzzle, but some of the pieces were missing. Thankfully, Calcit were able to figure out the rest. The formula contained a predecessor of Originium, in which it applies the same foundation, where Originium collects and reformats the information. This discovery could lead them for polypathy treatment and improving Originium equipments. A while later, loud blaring sounds were heard in the entire landship. Something had attacked the landship. The doctor and Amiya tries to contact operators, but no response was given. The comms was shut down. They then decided to search on foot, but they were blocked by many strange Originium entities that crystallizes in front of them. 57 minutes since the start of the incident, someone succeeded in restoring the communication. Using the comms, the doctor ordered Crusher to activate suit to fight control over BRDS, while the doctor and the rest of the elite operators penetrate the abyss. Occasionally blocked by Originium creatures, the doctor leads the team, eventually finding a sarcophagus. Inside it was Calcit. She grabs the doctor's hand, but it was very, very weak. Calcit tells the doctor that she found a way to go deeper into the abyss, but the only one who can do it is the doctor, as they are the only one who have full authorization. The doctor touched the wall that Calcit pointed at. It began to change erratically and irregularly, creating a rift. The doctor walked into the rift first, followed by the other elite operators. They were teleported to the top of the land ship, and that the other elite operators are gone, only leaving the Doctor, Monster, Calcid, and Amiya. Before long, Originium thus spread like wildfire in the ground and in the air, blocking everyone's vision. The Originium crystal reflected the sunlight, making an aurora. In the distance, a faint white figure atop an Originium crystal could be seen. Long time no see. She smiles, looking upon the land. Catastrophic clouds high in the sky, moving like a folded paper, until eventually it vanished, fully controlled by Priestess. Priestess tried to persuade the Doctor, but the Doctor refused. Disappointed by the Doctor's choice, as the battle started, lasers and dark arts fly across the battlefield, but blocked by Originium crystals. But before long, the Doctor and Amiya looked back at Calcid. They saw Calcid being eaten alive by Originium from her right shoulder, spreading until engulfing her entire body, shattering, the winds blowing it all away, leaving only a green jacket and a stethoscope. No time for mourning, the Doctor thought of an idea. They linked her mind with Amiya. They tried to decipher the formula they found in Civila Eterna and then reversing it. After reversing it, Amiya cast her arts, being threads keep coming out of her staff. Eventually, Originium slowed down, effectively delaying her. Mantra voice was heard inside the Doctor's ear. The elite operators has re-established communication. The Doctor told the elite operators to go to Wolverine and evacuate everyone on the land ship. After casting her out so many times, Amiya wasn't able to keep up, but it was enough time for everyone to leave the land ship. The Doctor picks up Amiya and Calcid close. Even when exhausted, in Amiya's hand, she clutches a dark green crystal that Calcid always brought with her. Everyone meets up at the isolation zone, looking from afar. Rhodes Island encased upon Originium crystals. What was once home, now no more. But as long as Rhodes Island hopes and personnel still exist, then it can always be rebuilt. Sometime after, Vina told the Doctor that the pneumatic plate that Dr. Calcid altered a while ago is about to be complete. 1 month later, in a forest near the new Rhodes Island landship, heavy rain poured down upon Amiya and the Doctor. Cold touches their skin, but they stay, looking at a grass field. In the middle, a dark green crystal was covered in Calcid clothes. For over a month they waited, hoping for a miracle. As they were about to head back, the crystal started glowing. The crystal sank to the ground as if it were shaped. It started growing branches, sprouting. Eventually, the branches converged into a cocoon, metamorphosizing into a feline girl that looks a lot like Calcid. As she looks up at the sky, cold rain touches her skin. This is the first time she ever felt this sensation. As she puts on Calcid clothes, Calcid memories float at her, but the one that is always beside her is nowhere to be seen. He is. My name is Monster. You gave me this name. They were hoping that Calcid would come back, but nonetheless it was a sort of miracle. And even though she has all of Calcid's memories, her childlike actions solidifies that they are not the same. After a long time looking at the data from Calcid left for Monster finally found something that could help them bring Calcid back. Theoretically, by using the power of the sarcophagus and the neuron data of Calcid that is stored inside Monster's brain, they can bring Calcid back.